Please remember to hit that like button, comment down below, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and share this video. Also, in the description of this video, you can find our compiled link. Through that link, you can support the channel via our Patreon or through our affiliate links, including your playmat. If you want a custom playmat or custom card sleeves, buy them through there and it helps out the channel and you get a 10% discount. And through our TCG Player affiliate link. If you're going to buy cards, buy them through TCG Player and it helps out the channel. Also, we have our Discord if you want to chat with us. We have Twitter if you want to stay up to date on all the happenings. We have TikTok if you want to check out anything funny. And we have my Pokemon channel if you're into Pokemon, so check out LuxJ. And we will see you in the video. How's it going, everybody? CJ here, back with another video. We're doing a top 10 today. We're going to be talking about the top 10 cards in Adventures of Forgotten Realms for Commander. We're not going to be talking about Commanders themselves. We're going to talk about cards in the 99. I went through, these are all my personal opinions. I went through a bunch of different cards, like looked through the whole set, ended up with like 20 or so cards, narrowed it down to my top 10, and that's what I'm here to talk about today. But before I do, remember we got the giveaway going on. So, if you want to win this Elder Dingus Highlander playmat plus a little stack of Elder Dingus Highlander stickers, check out the giveaway in the description of this video. It's in the compiled link, so check that out, and it's really, really easy to enter. And now we're going to talk about this top 10. So, number 10 on my list is Guardian of Faith. It's a 3-mana card that, when it enters the battlefield, any number of other target creatures you control phase out. It's got Flash and it's got Vigilance. It's kind of like a budget Teferi's protection in regards to your board state. It can protect your board from, like, just board wipes. If someone casts a board wipe, you cast Guardian of Faith, enters the battlefield, and it'll die, but the rest of your board will be safe because you can phase all your other creatures out. It's nice that it says any number of target creatures, so it works to, like, if there's creatures that you kind of want to die because they have death triggers or something, you can let those die, but not other creatures. It's an interesting card. Plus, the fact that it's a creature can interact well with any ETBs. It's a spirit, so it works well in any spirits deck. It's a knight, so it works well in a knight's deck. Both those are relatively big tribes, popular tribes. So it seems like a good card. It's definitely an auto slot in for either of those tribes. And I think it's just a good budget option for Teferi's protection for similar effects to that. So I think it's a good card. I like it. I think it's definitely a very playable card in Commander. Next up, we're going to go to number 9. We got Lilith Spider Queen. This card is super cool. It gets countered so quick. It's an auto-include in any aristocrat style deck. Because when a creature dies, you put a counter on it. Easy. And there's a lot of ways to get a lot of counters on this thing very, very fast. You could ultimate this the turn it comes down pretty easily. And if you do, you're going to be doing a lot of damage there. And that seems great. Plus, it's a good token generation, and it gives you card draw if you want it. So, it's just a good card. In any sacrifice theme deck, in any aristocrat style deck, it seems like an auto-include. Very, very good card there. The reason why it's pretty high on this list, like all the way up at number 9, is mostly because it's pretty niche. Like, you really want to be inside of a sacrifice, aristocrat, something like that style of deck. Otherwise, it's not going to perform very well. Next up, we have number 8, Frog Hemoth. This card is hilarious. It's, what's it called? Scoop Mobs, Big Bull. Wait, no, it's not Scoop Mob. Is it? It's Scavenger Ooze. Scavenger Ooze's daddy right here. This thing is hilarious. But I think it's pretty good. It's 5 mana for a 4/4 trample haste, which is solid. The haste is really nice. Trample is really nice. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, exile up to that many target cards from their graveyard. Put a +1/+1 counter on it for each creature card exiled this way. Then you gain 1 life for each non-creature exiled this way. So it's good. Like, it's really very similar to Scavenging Ooze, except it's more mana, but it becomes a big body. You can hate on your opponent's graveyards. It works really well with any +1/+1 counter synergies. Works well with any combat-based synergies. I think it's a pretty solid card, and I think it's definitely going to see play. It's a very good include for any +1/+1 counter deck. Could really run this as graveyard hate, and the upside is that it synergizes with the rest of the deck. Seems good. It's a good card. I like it, and I think it's pretty funny. Next up, we're on number 7. My number 7 is Asmodius the Fiend. This card is like Necropotence or Necropotence and Grizzlebrand on a body together, kind of fixed. It's very, very powerful here. And, like, I mean, Grizzlebrand is banned in Commander for good reason. It's a card that I would consider to take off the ban list, but it's very, very powerful and probably should stay banned. This would be an awesome reanimation target here. You draw a card. If you would draw a card, you exile top card of your library face down instead. You pay 3 mana, draw 7 cards. So it's really, you pay 4 mana and you draw 7 cards and lose 7 life, which is really not bad. You can do it at instant speed. It's really powerful there. And in a black deck, black decks tend to go with some life gained. You're going to be using your life total as a resource in black a lot. It makes sense. Like, there's going to be a pretty fitting card for a lot of decks. It seems really good, and it's going to see tons and tons of play. Tons of play. It should see a lot of play, I think. I mean, in a reanimation deck, it's a really, really good include. I like it a lot. And so yeah, that's Asmodius the Fiend. Next up, we're on to number 6. My choice for number 6 was Tiamat. As a card in the 99, it is a very powerful commander, but also any 5-color dragons deck, literally, if you build 5-color dragons, you want Tiamat in the deck. Like, it's an automatic include in any 5-color dragons deck. Does not matter who the commander is. The only one that's like even iffy on is gotta be Scion of the Ur Dragon, because having Scion turn into Tiamat doesn't really do much. But other than Scion, like Morophon, the Ur Dragon, this card's auto-include for sure. Very, very powerful card here. And dragons are such a big archetype. I felt that even though it's a little narrow to the types of decks that it goes in, it's still very good and going to be ubiquitous in that style deck. And it's such a popular archetype that seems like it would be worth mentioning here. Plus, it works well with changelings too, so Tomer can throw this in his tribal deck if he wants to. It's funny. I like it. I like this card a lot. But and now you're in the top 5. So number 5, we have Circle of Dreams Druid. This would be much higher on this list if it wasn't 3 green to cast. Because of the fact that it's 3 green, it's lower on this list. But it's a Gaia's Cradle on a creature, but it does tap for mana, like, no matter what. Like, Gaia's Cradle, if you have no creatures in play, can't tap for mana. Circle of Dreams Druid will always be able to tap for mana because it's a creature, so it's at least 1 creature in play. It's a good card, though. This card seems very, very powerful, and, I mean, it's definitely not as good as Gaia's Cradle, but Gaia's Cradle is also, like, $1,000. This is $10. This is a card that I could easily see going up in price. It's going to be very powerful. It's an elf. It'll go in every elf deck, any mono green elf deck for sure, till the end of time. Like, there's no reason you wouldn't run this. It's a combo card with cards like Freed from the Real, Sword of the Parents, stuff like that. It's very powerful, and is going to see tons and tons and tons of play. After that, we've got number 4, Grazilax. So, Grazilax is an interesting card. Grazilax, Illithid Scholar. Whenever your creature you control becomes blocked, you may return it to its owner's hand. And whenever 1 or more creatures you control deal combat damage to a player, draw a card. So, the reason why he's in this list, and so high on this list, is because cards like Bident of Thassa, and Coastal Piracy, and what's the other one? Reconnaissance Mission, all see tons of play. And he is those cards with more upside on them. Like, Bident of Thassa is in 305,000 decks, 22,000 decks on EDH Rec. That makes a lot more sense. 22,000 decks on EDH Rec. Let's see. What about Coastal Piracy? Reconnaissance Mission. Okay, wait. Reconnaissance Mission is in 12,600 decks on EDH Rec. And Coastal Piracy is in... Oh my god. Do I have to actually search it? It's not showing up? Oh my god, that's annoying. Coastal Piracy. That is in a whopping 7,000 EDH rec decks. Like, these cards see tons and tons of play. And Grazilax is the cheapest of these cards, like mana wise, by one whole mana. Like, that's pretty substantial. And he has the upside of being able to return blocked creatures to your hand. So you can swing out, and if someone's going to block to kill anything, you can return it to your hand. So you'd run this in like a deck with a lot of ETB creatures. Your opponents have to choose. Do they let you draw cards, or do they let you return the creature to your hand so you can replay it and get the ETB again? It seems really good, and it could be very good with politics. You can be like, hey, if you block my Reclamation Sage, I can blow up that person's combo piece. Seems good. Like, this Grazilax should be seeing tons of play. I don't know how much play he's actually seeing yet. Let me take a look. He's currently only 27 decks are made of him, but as a card, he is in only 188 decks. That is so low. That needs to go up. This card should be seeing a lot more play than it is by a significant margin. This is almost like, this is better than Thassa. This is a great card. Great card here. Next up, we're on to number 3. We have Loyal Warhound. This card seems pretty fantastic in any white deck. It's 2 mana ramp and just an auto include. It's a great card for white decks. It's very similar to what's the card called? Knight of the White Orchid, which is in a total of almost 17,000 decks on EDH Rec, which is quite a bit. And this costs 1 less mana to play. Or 1 less white to play. It costs white and a colorless as opposed to 2 white. But it's going to be an auto include in any white deck, really. Like, this is a great card for white decks. Any blink deck would like this card. It's really powerful, and it's land ramp outside of green. It's land ramp in white, which is the color that needs it the most. I am so happy they printed a card like this. It's just fantastic. Fantastic card here. Should be seeing tons of play. Next up, we have number 2. I picked Teleportation Circle. So, it's very similar to Conjurer's Closet, which is in 17,000 EDH Rec decks, and very similar to Thassa Deep Dwelling, which is the commander of 702 decks, and in almost 14,000 decks on EDH Rec. But it also lets you blink artifacts. Like, that's insane. This card is going to end up being very pricey, I think. I think if it doesn't see a reprint, then Teleportation Circle could easily get up to the $10, $15 range. And it's only $3 now, so this is my budget. This is my spec. This is my spec out of everything in this video. The card that I think will grow the most percentage-wise. It's a fantastic card. Goes in any blink deck. Goes in any enters the battlefield triggers deck. Any, like, ETB style deck. Stuff like that. And it can go in a lot of artifact decks if there's artifacts that have enters the battlefield triggers and stuff like that. It seems fantastic. And any artifacts that, like, you tap. So, like, because artifacts don't have summoning sickness. So if you have an artifact that taps, you can tap it during your turn. Teleportation Circle, exile it, return it. It's untapped now. You can do it again. That's a really nice synergy there. So it kind of untaps artifacts for you once. Seems good. This card is going to see tons of play. I need more copies of it. I think this is probably... This might... Like, I was very close to putting this as my number 1, but I just couldn't because there's one card that I really, really, really like and want to put as my number 1 for this video. But this card is very close to being the best EDH card from this set. And I think that it actually may end up seeing more play than my number 1. I think there's a chance, but the number 1 card I picked has the biggest effect on the game. And that number 1 card is Old Knobown. Any deck that runs Old Knobown is going to produce so much mana for you. Any deck that has flyers in it, any deck that has big tramplers in it, it's going to produce tons and tons of mana because you're dealing so much combat damage it just seems fantastic. It's so good. Like, Dragon's deck, auto include. This would be good in any Dragon's deck, really. Like, this card's going to see so much play. I mean, as it is, it's a 7 mana 7/7 with flying, so basically, every turn it's going to connect, because you're going to most likely have at least one opponent without a flyer. So it's a 7/7 for 7 that when it hits a player, which it will do most turns, you get 7 treasures back. It pays for itself in one turn, especially if you can give it haste. And so, like any Gruul deck, this seems really sweet in. You can throw this in anything that has like Purphoros, that would be disgusting. This card seems fantastic. It's going to see tons in play. And the price is already going up on this, so I'm a little late. I need to pick up copies, and I'm upset that I haven't yet. I'm going to have to pick up copies very shortly now. But fantastic card here. Number 1 on my list. And that is what I have for my top 10 cards from Adventures of Forgotten Realm in Commander. Comment down below if you would switch anything up in my list. If there's any cards that you think I should have mentioned that I did not. Let me know what you think about what you would put in your list for the top 10 cards of Adventures of Forgotten Realm in Commander. I'll see you guys next time. Peace out, everybody.